Good morning, everybody. Super excited. I'm back in California. We've got Beth Silverman as our guest today. I was just saying, if anyone is going to be in Cabo, we're doing Wake Up Wednesday from Brent Gove's suite. He never starts anything that early in the morning. I think it's 7 a.m. in Cabo time, but he agreed. Well, I kind of twisted an arm, but he agreed to let us have Wake Up Wednesday from his suite. And then also, this is going to be our third annual retreat. We hold it out at Cedar Creek Lake. Jean and Susan offer up their lake house to us. This year it's level up, getting to know yourself. We're putting the agenda together. But if you are interested in going, it sells out every year. It is May 5th through the 9th. I'm not going to say it, but I've heard people tell me it's one of the best events that they've ever gone to. And it's been life changing for other people. So let's see who's on here. That Sarah, good morning. Is she on her mic?
Hi, Jennifer just walked in. We were catching up.
Hi,
Hey,
Jennifer.
Beth. She had to, she's gone. Hey,
So
Beth, it's so good to have you on Wake Up Wednesday. Thank you for making time for us.
I'm so excited.
so excited. So I just want to get a quick testimonial. Sarah, you're coming back your third year. Why do you keep coming back to the retreat?
You know what? Every year, um, okay, let me say this. The retreat always meets me where I'm at. So as we go through different phases of our life, our work, our career, whatever, the retreat always meets me where I'm at right then. And I actually have this notebook that has all my retreat notes as well as other important things. And I've never regretted one penny I spent on that time. Being in proximity to high level coaches like uh, Deanne and Eric,
Stephanie and Eric.
Stephanie, yeah, it's just phenomenal. And then just getting to meet all of my friends across the country and being with them, and it just gives you that community and that support.
Mhm.
And it's just a very special time, and you get out of it what you put into it.
Thank you for that. So
Amen.
super excited. That's just a few weeks away. Okay. Oh, Annie's going. Whoa. Fantastic. Okay, Annie, I'll add you to the list. We'll talk about that later. All right. So Beth was going to be on a couple of weeks ago. And you know what happens when someone is like down for the count and she really wanted to be on, but she had a couple of obligations and that day that were like super important. Not that we're not important, but she said, I will make it up to you. And so I am super excited to have three-time icon. I mean, I just think this is the power woman of eXp. She's right up there with Elizabeth Riley in my mind and Veronica and all these powerhouse women. When you think of who's getting it done, it's Beth Silverman. I met her last year and Build in Dallas. I was just blown away with her on stage presence, what she brought to the audience, the energy, all of that. And I said, please, 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 would you someday be on Wake Up Wednesday? And here my dream is finally coming true. So Beth, thank you. It's
I
all
love
yours.
making dreams
Oh,
come true. Hi, Ash.
hi. I just want to say, listen, Peggy will vouch for this. Sarah I think knows me well enough. I am not easily impressed, and I don't like a lot of people. And when I say that you killed it at Dallas Build, like, and I've seen you speak before, but you have leveled up and you were on fire, and I was so impressed with your speaking. It was just I was blown away. So I just want you to know that, not that I matter or my opinion matters to you, it shouldn't matter that much, but when I say that, I truly mean it. I'm
I
not just
love
blowing
that.
smoke or
Okay.
anything, and you were incredible.
I
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Beth, I'm going to jump in for a minute there because Ashley has been co hosting this with me for 2 years. And I think I could go back to all the tapes.
Yes.
She don't do what she just did. And sometimes she'll text me and go, "Are you out of your mind having this person on, or what are you talking about?"
Um,
She
like
this is good.
like
I'm like
Ashley,
highly critical.
like Ashley, I too hate people. So
Knew I
we're
loved you.
kindred spirits.
Yeah.
I want to play off what Sarah said about why she attends, which she said, it meets me where I'm at. So one of the best parts about when I come on these types of Zooms and coaching is that I'm not this girl who has this slide deck that I'm going to share reading, bullshit notes. That's not what I'm here for. I'm here to meet you where you're at. And so for the agents who have shown up today, I am 1,000,000% here for you. And so the best way this will work, can I turn my volume up a little? I think my volume is up as high as it goes. Is anyone having trouble hearing me?
You're good.
Am
I
I
got
good?
it.
Okay. Yeah, my volume doesn't go up higher than this. I can move my computer. Is that better, Stacy? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm pretty loud. I can get louder. Trust me, it's early, but who cares? So I need participation from you guys so that I can take a temperature of who I'm speaking with. So whether you want to use the chat box, whether you want to like do a raise hand or open your mic, I just need to know how long has everybody been in the industry? So you can either open the chat box or okay,
Oh,
7
Beth,
years.
let's get them to just open their mics and everybody, as many people get on screen as you
49 years.
can.
7.
Hi, I haven't seen you in so long.
37.
15th year.
33.
Okay, so we have no newbies really in this room.
I'm a
and
baby.
so-
I'm a
On this
baby.
one,
I'm a
Wait.
baby with 1 year.
1 year.
2 years,
years.
almost 2.
Okay, so what a balance of like veteran, seasoned, and then early career. You guys in the early career, what a great time to be a realtor. I'm so glad you joined our industry after the COVID boom because that market and 3% interest rates and putting a listing on the market where you'd have 80 showings in 3 days, 40 offers, 20 all cash over ask. That's not fun. It's not coming back. And now we are coming off of 2024, where only 4 million homes were sold, and more than half of all of the realtors in the country did not sell one. Now, I understand that as some of the veterans, especially being at eXp, you guys might be focused on other revenue streams. However, production never really goes away. I heard a lot of agents getting out of production during the big boom, and then they had to turn around and come back into it, whether they were a team lead or a solo agent. And the biggest things about my life is that I want to identify the challenges that we experience and then identify the opportunities that we need to capitalize on this year. So, who wants to be a little bit vulnerable and tell me what was the biggest challenge you faced selling real estate in 2024?
Come on, guys. We've talked about this.
It takes some time to warm up. I did this yesterday with the Zoocasta crew, and once a few people started, everybody got going. I'll start. How about that? Because I want you to understand how vulnerable of a person that I am. I'm a solo agent, even though I'm about to hit my 4th icon. Of course, I have a little support team of like TCs, V8. You can't do this on your own as a solo. And then I've got about 40 something agents in my rev share group. And I typically do in production in units around 40 to 50 units per year. Okay, great. It's a lot of money. My life is fantastic. So last year I came out the gates swinging as I normally do, and in February 1 year ago my world completely stopped. My brother was tragically killed and I had to stop my life and my career. Thank God for eXp, for revenue share, for stocks. Thank God that I am an investment specialist and I have several cash flowing properties that we'll talk about that as well. So I stopped my business for about a quarter. I came back to work out the gate swinging, typical Beth Silverman, close like another 11 units, and then boom, boom, we are hit by 2 back-to-back hurricanes. I lose my roof, My industry is devastated. 37 of my clients lost their houses. We're launching recovery teams. And the day after I got power and water back, I was hit by a truck. My car was totaled, was taken to the hospital. Last year was literally the hardest year of my life. If you've never met me, I had breast cancer at 26. I have lived more life than many people can imagine. And I can honestly sit here and say last year, 2024, was the most challenging year. How I managed to still squeak out 25 units when I only worked like 5 months is a miracle. And when I learned that 50 to 70% of agents, the numbers are a little skewed because of teams, did not sell, not a one single home last year, I set out on a mission to understand what agents' biggest challenges were. So I'll tell you what I heard yesterday. Some people's challenges were overcoming objections. They were saying that they were hearing the interest rates are too high, the inaffordability of housing, I can't save for a down payment. And so that was a challenge that I heard, overcoming objection and objection handling. Another person talked about time management and work-life balance. Let me be clear when I say I am in my work-life balance era because I made work my life to get here, right? I didn't start out not working weekends and not working evenings. It took me a long time to develop that in my business. So I heard a lot of that time management was hard because they felt like if they wanted to have boundaries or a life, they were missing out on opportunities. And in a softened economy with interest rates and a lot of uncertainty within the federal government and all over the nation with half of the West Coast on fire, it is a really scary time. And so I thought to myself, okay, how do we create opportunities in 2025 and beyond so that we can continue to grow our business to ensure that us and none of the agents that we partner with, because we are all partners, no matter what rev share group you're in, we have a responsibility to help one another improve every day, always. So what are the opportunities that we can identify in our own businesses and our own markets that potentially we were missing to grow our business? So this has been my new kick. And my new thing is, how do we create opportunities that people can say yes to grow our business? This is the difference between being a transactional agent versus a transformative advisor. A transactional agent is going to turn and burn. It is much easier to sell a cookie cutter, turnkey, run of the mill property and make a pretty post on your pretty Instagram and talk to that client that you're going to sell one house to every 7 years than it is to present an opportunity to that very same buyer in order to get them to transact twice as much and twice as fast instead of buying the cookie cutter turnkey property. I'm rather going to talk to them about an opportunity to purchase a value add instead of a turnkey cookie cutter home. I'm going to take the time during my consult to educate them on what it might look like if we utilize a value add strategy, utilize the BRRRR method, if we utilize potentially moving out of that home and renting it out, using the total rental income on that dwelling to offset the cost of our next purchase. I am going to create an opportunity to show people how to say yes to invest in real estate. And it's going to help me sell twice as much and twice as fast than a traditional realtor. And I want you today to start thinking about the same ideas and how you can insert them in your market. So I'm going to give you guys a couple of examples of how I've created opportunity. Some of them are so random and rare. And the reason I want to go through these is so you understand how to create these in your market. So I just mentioned my brother died, just since we're talking about him. He was a farrier. He put farriers, if you don't know, they put horseshoes on horses. Very talented. They used to fly him down to this barn in Wellington, Florida. That's the east coast of Florida. And he calls me up years ago and he says, how far do you live from Ocala? And I'm like, it's a couple of hours north. Like, I don't know anything about it. It's outside of my MLS. And he said, all right, well, I'm going to be there a lot. They're building this multi-billion-dollar facility called WEC, the World Equestrian Center. I said, okay, great. So I thought to myself, let me look into Wellington, Florida, and see what the Equestrian Center did to the real estate landscape. Now, back in the day, you'd be able to get land for a reasonable price there. No more. In Wellington, Florida, you can buy land for about 1 to 2 million. And when I'm talking ultra luxury, these are estates that sell for 5 to 25 million with multiple barns on them. And where you have to house the rich people, you need housing for all the people who work for the rich people. So immediately I thought, let me call my investors and present an opportunity of them to land bank in Ocala, Florida. Did I work in Ocala, Florida? No. What did I do? At the same time I was presenting an opportunity to land bank in Ocala, I went on Facebook and I said, where are all my Ocala agents? I interviewed that understand the equine equestrian market. I interviewed 20 agents, and here I am pitching them on something that I don't even really know myself, but I just knew that it might work. And so all of my investors who raised their hand and said yes, I was able to refer to this realtor in Ocala to start buying everything up. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. Here we are today. Everyone has made a lot of money. Okay, let's fast forward. How many of you guys know a doctor? I'm sure all of you know a doctor or two. They are really tired. My physician business 3x'd during COVID. Why? Because these doctors are exhausted and they wanted to buy strategic investment properties to speed up their retirement. And the ones who aren't exhausted, they make too much money. They too need to buy income properties to offset their taxes. So all of a sudden, I saw an opportunity there. So what did I do? I found 1 or 2 doctors that were in my sphere and in my network, and I said, hey, how would you feel about buying an Airbnb? I said, I understand the Airbnb market, and this was 2018. There was no AirDNA. There was no easy button on the MLS to understand where it was legal to operate a short-term rental. I had to learn this all. Google and AI will do all the heavy lifting for you these days. It's very easy. But I learned the zoning. I learned the cost associated with purchasing and operating an Airbnb. I knew exactly what we had to do to be profitable. So I called one doctor friend that I had and I said, if I could show you how to use the equity from your home that we purchased a few years ago, because if you helped somebody purchase a home from 2015 to 2021, you know they're sitting on an average of over $200,000 in equity. And that's in my market where our average price is 400 to 500,000. If you're in a much higher market, obviously you've got to change the price points. But they're sitting on about 200,000 in equity. So I said to him, if I could show you how to use a HELOC to take the equity from your main home to use a DSCR loan, we don't need your income. You don't even need to qualify. This house that we're going to buy is going to qualify for the loan on its own based on the cash flow. If I could show you how to do this, how would this change your life? You would not only get a free beach house, it would pay for itself, pay for the operating expenses. There's going to be some small cash flow in there. It's going to give you bountiful tax benefits, which I've heard as a physician you guys really need. I said, is that an opportunity that you would be interested in? And he said, yeah, I never thought about it. But yeah, he said, but Beth, I'm a busy doctor. I don't have time to operate it. No problem. I have an exclusive vendor tribe that's filled with everyone to take care of your needs. I am a one-stop shop. He said, okay, so what I'm hearing is you're going to find me the real estate. You're going to help me purchase it. You're going to negotiate it. You're going to crush it on the inspection. And then I'm going to close on the real estate. And you're going to align me with this team of trusted vendors that you know. And they're going to do this all for me. And what do I have to pay you for all of this? I said, ain't that a kicker? I'm going to act like I'm a JV partner and I'm not going to touch any of your equity. I said, well, I'm going to put a lot of work into this on the front end. So we're going to do a small non-refundable retainer fee. I started at like $1,000, right? Why am I doing this? Because I know the amount of time that it takes to search, scout, find these great investment opportunities. So I want to make sure that that time is valued. And then I said, well, you're going to sign an exclusive buyer broker agreement. This is long before NAR, people. I have been using EBBAs since the dawn of time, always protecting my compensation. If you saw me on stage at EXPCon, what I said was the God's honest truth. I work way too hard for my buyer clients to allow some listing agent to determine my worth. right? And so there's never going to come a time where a listing broker says, oh, the co-broke was 2 or 2.5, and that was going to be acceptable for me based on the amount of work I was doing for my buyer clients. And so I would always have a 3% compensation fee, and I would always have a $9.95 transaction fee. Why? Because we're at the greatest brokerage in the world that permits us to charge a transaction fee. And what happened that year that I had 14 investors transact 41 times on a $9.95 fee? Well, that paid for my TC, my assistant, a couple of my VAs. So this was great. So I said to the doctor, that's it. I'm going to negotiate the seller to pay my compensation. So really, at the end of the day, I think you're probably going to pay me about $1,900. And he said, seriously? I said, yeah. I said, now, granted, you're going to have to pay my vendors. I hear my designer's pretty expensive. And he said, I'm in. Guess what? That guy ended up not only purchasing 5 homes with me in the course of a 24-month period, but he then gave me to all of his doctor friends. Once you get to the one, you get to the many. So I started realizing money changes hands when problems are solved. Who else has a problem that I can solve? Remember, when we have people with problems and then I can offer a compelling solution to your problem, that's just an opportunity. I'm giving you an opportunity to say, yes, I'm going to solve your problem. So I thought, who else do I know who has problems? I had a lot of bartender friends with problems. They had mattress money that they couldn't season for a loan. These are cash unclaimed tips. So I taught them how to house hack using an FHA loan with 3.5% down, and I'd get the sellers to cover their closing costs, and they'd take that unclaimed cash mattress money, and we'd pay a general contractor to finish their basement apartment, and that basement apartment would rent out and cover almost their entire mortgage. And they'd say, but Beth, how can you be sure that this is going to be a good investment? I've never done this before. I said, great question. So you have to know how to find the solution. Well, I knew, how many of you guys, just raise your hand if you use a mortgage calculator regularly? This is the greatest tool in my real estate business. I don't understand how more agents don't use this. First of all, we're just going to do a sidebar. How many buyers come to you and they're approved for XYZ, but then they actually tell you what they want to spend per month? And then you need to then reverse engineer the insurance, the taxes, HOA fees, and you come to realize, especially in this market with 7% interest rates, that you're like, oh, they can't purchase anywhere near what they're approved for. So we're doing all the work. Without my mortgage calculator, I wouldn't be able to figure any of that out. Mortgage calculators help me understand the numbers in all of these opportunities. So they would say to me, Beth, how do you know this long-term house is going to be a good deal? And I'd say, well, let's do the math. You're going to get into it for 3.5% down. I'm going to get the seller to cover your closing costs. We know you've got this cash to build out this unit. Let me show you what these basement apartments will lease for. What did I do? Went to the rental section of the MLS. This is for my newer agents. Looked at comparable basement leased apartments, and I knew what they would rent for. So using my mortgage calculator, I could say to my client, you're only going to be living for like $200 a month. And if you're smart enough to take on a roommate in the main dwelling, you're going to be cash flow positive. And if you trust me enough, you're only going to live there for 2 or 3 years. And then we're going to rent out your portion of the main dwelling. I'm going to use the total rental amount to help you buy the next property. This is how you get them to transact twice as fast. Ask me about my repeat business. My clients average transacting with me 3 times in a 24-month period. So when a traditional realtor is selling that cookie cutter home to a traditional buyer, they are only going to transact with you. Let me tell you something, the stats keep going up. People aren't leaving their houses. Now it's 9 years. So now remember, what would we used to do in the past? We would turn them into a move-up buyer, right? So we get the buy on the first side. Then you'd have a move-up buyer. So you'd have the listing and the move-up buy. By then you have one of their family members they're referring to. Like we thought about the lifetime value of a client was like 7 deals over the course of XYZ years. Why? My clients are average transacting with me 3 times every 24 months. So how can we speed up our repeat business? By presenting more opportunities that they can say yes to, by going deeper so we can serve them at a higher level. Let's talk about more opportunities. My girlfriend Sherry calls me the other day. up in arms. You see, Shari's daughter was in her freshman year at college, and she's having the time of her life, doing great, making all the grades. And Shari calls me and she goes, "Oh my God, oh my God. I got to come up with a couple grand." A couple grand was more than that. She goes, "The kids, they're already getting their apartments for next year. And if I don't sign this lease for Sophia right now, she's going to be living in a cardboard box. What am I going to do?" And she had to come up with whatever it was, 10, 11 grand. And I thought, oh my God, I have a ton of friends with kids in college, and they're all going through this exact same thing. And that same day, I saw Veronica Figueroa purchase a house for her kid where she's going to school. So I said, "Cher, you're sitting on about 350,000 of equity in your house, honey. Let me show you how to use a HELOC, and we're going to help you. I don't work where your daughter goes to school, but I have this whole referral network. So I'm going to refer you to an agent. We're going to help you buy a 4-bedroom house near campus, and you're going to rent out the other 3 bedrooms. I'm going to show you how to put this into a land trust. You're going to end up willing it to Sophia. She's never going to pay taxes on it. You're going to set up your daughter for life." And she was like, "I never even thought of that. That's okay. It's okay. You got a problem. I got the solution. And if you don't have kids and if this isn't your problem, if you live in a college town, do you believe that you can source and scout these opportunities and talk about it on your socials so that an agent like me who has a friend like Shari, can I refer her to you as a client? Is that an opportunity, right? Everyone knows someone who needs to invest in real estate. I know people who live on army bases, and they're always talking about how there is not adequate housing, that we need stuff like co-living. If you've ever seen me speak, I teach about pad split all the time. It's how we make multifamily returns on a single family home. And this is a great thing to do around colleges and around army bases. And so if you are like, I have a lot of friends who are around army bases and they have this problem, do you know what I have? I have investors who have money to spend. If you have an opportunity for me, I have the clients to refer. So I need you to deep dive into your markets to figure out what is your opportunity. I thought I was going to break into the luxury condo market when I moved the business to Florida in 2017. And in my first 9 months, I had only sold one luxury condo. My broker at the time took me to the office and said, "Beth, I think it's your personality. I think people on the West Coast of Florida aren't appreciative of your energy and the New York pace at which you work. I think," he basically told me to be less. And I cried that day. And I walked out of the office to the water and I thought, I did not come this far to let some clown tell me to be less, but I needed a plan. I needed to take it back to basics. And I'm looking out into the water and I see this boat in the distance. And I think to myself, could I learn everything about boats, lifts, seawalls, docks, and waterfront properties? Certainly. Now, I'm not a boat person, so that was one idea. It just wasn't the idea for me. In that same time, I was walking back to my car and I see a white house. It was a white sign. It was this yellow and blue beach cottage, and the sign said, "Life's a beach. Take the vacation, short-term rentals," and it had a phone number. By the way, that's the day I decided I was going to become an Airbnb master. I knew nothing about it, but I committed to learning everything about the opportunity. So, how do we find opportunities, right? First, you got to figure out what's the opportunity in your market. Or if you have no opportunities in your market, I was talking to a bunch of agents from Canada yesterday, and they were talking about how difficult their market is. Let me tell you about the time I flew a whole plane of Canadian investors to Florida and took them on a 3-day bus tour. Let me tell you about the amount of business I picked up then. So again, if you don't have the opportunity in your market, I need you to figure out who your clientele are. Like, what's the money and the liquid and the things that we can present to them that you can then up your referral business into the markets where the opportunity exists. So how do you find opportunity in your market? No matter if it's an Airbnb, a pad split, multifamily, midterm rental, the steps are the same. Source, scout, pencil, pitch, position. Okay. So I'm just going to give you a brief overview of each. Sourcing a property, sourcing a deal on or off of the MLS. I prefer on, it's just much easier. And we're sourcing them to make sure they meet the criteria of the opportunity, otherwise known as the buy box, right? So if we were shopping for an Airbnb, And we saw a great house that was close proximity to where all the people go, but it only allows for minimum 30-day rentals. Is that a great opportunity? Or do we want to search for the house that allows weekly rentals, 12 times to rent it per year versus 52 times? So when you're sourcing opportunities, it's just like playing cards. Fold all the hands out of the garbage. Only play the hands that have the best odds to win big. Scouting, you need to physically use the Shoe Leather Express and tour the properties. You do not need a client. This is the best part of finding opportunities. You don't need the client. If you find the opportunity, the clients will come, and I can assure you they have the money. So sourcing properties, you're now going to scout them once a week. You're going to scout 5, 10, 20 properties, and you're going to make sure they do, in fact, meet the criteria of the buy box. I can find a house on the MLS that looks perfect for a pad split, and I'm so pumped. It has the square footage, it's the price I need. I can see the living room is going to convert to 2 bedrooms. I'm so excited. And then I get there, and there's only parking for 1 vehicle. And there's no way to add a driveway. There's no rear alley access. So there's no way to add parking. So it automatically doesn't meet the buy box. Take it off the list, right? So we have to physically see these properties to ensure they meet our criteria. Pencil. This is where all the marginal agents tap out. You are not marginal, you are exceptional. I promise you, you do not need advanced underwriting skills to pencil a deal. I need you to understand numbers in their most basic subset. If Airbnb and pad split became illegal tomorrow, what would a single family property rent for as a long-term rental? Does the long-term rent cover the PITI? This is why the mortgage calculator is so important. If we were devoid from renters, if renters went away, never going to happen, but let's just go there. What is the value of the real estate? What is the equity? Forget the tax deductions and the depreciation, which is amazing. What is the equity play in 1 year, 5 years, and 10 years? These are the hyper local market statistics that only you know. So you don't need these advanced underwriting skills. You need to have a basic understanding of the market statistics, the acquisition costs, the operating expenses, and then where do we see the market trending and how long should we hold on to this property? Again, Google and AI literally will do this all for you. But I always take it back to my clients and say, real estate is a long-term play, right? You don't retire from cash flow, by the way. Like anyone who says, oh, I'm living off cash flow, like that's not the way this works. Real estate is a long-term play. The goal of my friend Sherry taking the HELOC to buy the house for Sophia, it's multifaceted. Sherry, when she goes to retire in 30 years, that house is now going to be owned free and clear. So now she doesn't have to worry about whether or not Sophia is going to care for her in her golden years because she's sitting on an asset worth hundreds of thousands of dollars that's owned free and clear. So it's a long-term play. Do you know that, speaking of opportunity, 50% of my clients are realtors. 50%. Why is that? I can't tell you the amount of times icon agents will call me and be like, don't judge me. I know how to sell properties, but I don't understand how to invest or where to invest. I'm from New York. I was never taught about real estate investing because it wasn't possible. So I understand my friends from California who are like, Beth, you can't invest here. Great. The best investments are not always in your backyard. I want you to be open to the opportunity of partnering with the agents who have the opportunities where your clientele can reach that barrier of entry. Why aren't we normalizing buying an income property as our first home? So the age of a first-time buyer has now gone up to 38. Why are we not targeting the renters in their 20s, mid 20s, early 30s and saying, stay renting? Let me get you into a property in a different market that you can buy property in Detroit and Baltimore for $100,000, right? Why aren't we educating people on opportunity? If you have the opportunity, the clients will follow. It's incredible that everyone thinks as realtors, we have to wait for a buyer or seller. Of course, we're doing our lead gen, but we're waiting. How do we learn about neighborhoods in the beginning of our career? when we had a buyer or seller in that neighborhood. That's how we learned. If it was outside of where we lived, our farm neighborhood, or where our best friend, went to school, we learned about neighborhoods when our clients were shopping, buying, or selling there. If you're sourcing and scouting opportunities every single week, you are going to gain market knowledge twice as fast as any traditional realtor. If you are going deeper with your clients in the relationship to really uncover what are their problems that you can solve, that is how we're going to create more opportunity and in turn double our business. There is no reason that anyone should go a year without selling a house. To me, you guys, it's absolute insanity. If you and again, so in my market, what happened? The hurricanes hit and we were at a standstill. My referral business kept on going. Why? Because people always have a need to utilize their money to make it work for them. I'm here to teach people how to use the housing market as the vehicle to create wealth. And the last thing that I want to touch on before we start doing some questions is I think I need everyone to shift their mindset around who a real estate investor is, right? A lot of real estate agents think that investors are these guys who run you around searching for off market fixer uppers, and they have no loyalty or exclusivity to you. And they want you to chase all these deals and analyze them and write lowball offers. And they're not who I am talking about. A real estate investor is anyone who utilizes the housing market as a vehicle with which to build generational wealth, earn passive income, and reap bountiful tax benefits. And once you understand that a real estate investor is anyone, and you understand that they're all around us, I want you to start now thinking bigger of what opportunities do I have for the people within my sphere in my local market. Does that make sense? Great. Let's start and going through some real life questions, scenarios of where you like what type of opportunities you can identify in your market and how can I help you bring them to life. I know it's early. It's very hard to have big
Hi,
participation this
Beth.
early in the morning. Hi.
Hi, Beth. I really enjoy this. I'm actually just started using the mortgage calculator Russ recommended. It's called the Carl's mortgage calculator. It's pretty cool. And it's really easy to use. I've been doing investing before I got my license, and that's why I got my license because a lot of agents weren't calling me back when I was trying to get deals. And we were encouraged not to go on the MLS to do off market, but I would see like really good deals on the MLS, and I just needed an agent to help me. But that's how I got my license. But then I really enjoy the helping buyers and sellers. But I just became Express Offer certified via eXp Con, and it's been wonderful. It's amazing. I'm getting to know the buy boxes, but this what you just dropped is amazing because I never did scouting ever, ever, ever. Sourcing, scouting, and actually getting to know other neighborhoods. I stuck to the little areas, and for me, Beth was a fear because in our market there's a lot it's a dog eat dog play, a lot of wholesalers, people just using the wrong platforms, and a lot of deception, so that I was always afraid to go into a deal not knowing the background. So I think in our area or in my little group of investors, I think it was fear that held us back. You attack it in a way that is more with knowledge and confidence, and knowing how to pencil a deal. It was also a thing. It just the fear of picking the wrong property that will not work out on the Airbnb or Verbo, and then pencil it, how to calculate that return for the investor or myself when I was investing. It took time and a lot of time. So learning how to pencil that deal is so important because you don't want to. I've had investor sisters that invested on properties that failed completely, and that
Same.
brought a lot of fear. So
Well, I want to tell you this. If all of us go to the gym together, are we all going to have the same results? No, right?
yeah.
Because you don't know what I'm eating. You don't know what my body, how I'm working out. And so I could have two investors buy two identical Airbnb condos. One of them follows my Airbnb guide to owning and outfitting. One of them uses everyone in my tribe. They don't cut corners. They understand that my methodology is correct. And if you stick to every single step that I've outlined, I feel very confident these are the results you're going to have. In condo B, where I find them the great real estate. I give them all the tools, and then they decide at the end, you know what? They don't want to spend the money on my outfitter. They want to do it themselves. I've seen this happen so many times. I give them a handbook of how to operate their property, how to self-manage using automations, the cleaning company, everyone to hire, right? And then they're like, I want to save money. I think I can do this. I have seen
Yes.
people drive investments into the ground. So this is why when you're penciling, just like being a realtor, you guys, I'm not a lender, I'm not an insurance broker, I'm not a tax advisor. I am a realtor. My job is to find you the single greatest property for this opportunity, right? What you do thereafter is on you. So even though, okay, let's talk about reserves and investors getting into trouble. Because if we're using our sphere, our friends, and I'm going to my friend Sharon, I'm like, yo, take a $300,000 HELOC on your house. I need to make sure that she's buying a single family home for her daughter that's going to be safe. So, one of the safety measures that I take as a realtor is that during the inspection, I'm going to make sure I'm negotiating to set my client up for long term success. So, I know that if the water heater, roof, HVAC are newer, my client will only need to put away 1 to 2% in reserves. But I know as the realtor, if everything is half to end life, my client needs to double, if not triple, for the roofs in Florida, their reserve budget. So I want people to know, like, people think penciling is so hard, and investors are like, use this pro forma. It's like CMAs and pulling comps. Like, I don't need to use your chart. I don't need RPR. I don't need a Zestimate. I need to just look at the hardcore facts. I know the value of this real estate. We are certainly not going to overspend on the buy side, because in any type of real estate, whether you're buying your house that you're going to own or occupy, if you overpay, what happens? It's going to take you a lot longer to build equity, right? And if you get in trouble, you're going to go underwater. And we never want that. So I understand the value of the home. We're going to buy smart. We're going to walk away. We're going to fold those garbage hands. We're only going after the ones that we know we have the best odds to win big, not just to win big. If you know poker, and if you started with two pair, if you're playing Texas Hold'em, or you have an ace king, those are hands that you want to play. We're not just playing to play, we're playing to win big. And so I want my clients to know that I'm going to take every measurable step to set them up for success. This includes doing what I call a portfolio review. If they have one home, right, one door, and they're using it as a long-term or a short-term or a mid-term rental, every single year we have a meeting. It starts with a jot form that I send them with a few questions of, like, what was the year? Did you cash flow? What were your biggest maintenance expenses? I ask them just so, like, I'm prepared for what I'm going into for the conversation. And then we do a review. Most of my clients own anywhere from like 5 to 10 doors with me. And so we do these reviews. Some of them we do quarterly to make sure, like, this is the thing, I stay in their lives because I want to position them from purchase to profits. Marginal realtors take their clients from start to sold. A transformative advisor takes their clients from purchase to profits, right? So I'm staying in the game with them the whole time. And after the hurricane, when I had a million people lose their Airbnbs, and you're in triage mode, and you're really explaining to them, let me tell you about what happened after the devastating hurricane superstorm Sandy and what we saw on Long Island. Let me tell you about what happened after this storm. So we're using statistics and facts of how we believe the real estate market will bounce back. I wish I could go out to my friends that are in the wildfires right now. So much of what I heard from them is what we experience after a Cat 5 hurricane. The permitting, the teardowns, the tax assessments, everything they're going through as realtors. I wish that they had more Florida agents to talk to so we could help them and show them how they need to be speaking to their clients. The same way we called our clients every day during COVID just to check in, that's exactly what they need to be doing. And there are people like there's in every moment there's an opportunity, whether it's tragic or beautiful. There are opportunities for us to serve at a higher level at all times, and the only way to serve higher is to go deeper. We have to build better relationships. This turn and burn mentality, it's just so unacceptable to our industry, to the population. It's not who we are. I'm not the person that you're going to call me off of one of my signs and I'm going to run right out and show it to you. I love the NAR changes for that because I never would have shown it to you anyway. And now they have those single property agreements. I would never. My response is, well, let's get on a video call. All my consults are done over video, you guys. Phone calls unacceptable to me. I need to look at you in the face. And if they say, I don't have time for that, I just want you to show me the house. Would you agree that this is one of the biggest financial decisions you're about to make in your life? Would you agree that it's important to know who you're partnering with to help get you through? Like, and then they're like, oh, well, I'd love to offer you 45 minutes of my time, no strings attached. If at the end of 45 minutes, you don't think that I am the right partner for you to align with to help you with this purchase, we'll walk away and I'll send one of my agents to open that door for you in a couple of hours. So it's about going deeper because I need to look at you in the face and I need to gift you of time so that you understand I am not in this as a turn and burn. I am in this to transform your life. Why? Because I was broke after cancer. I had $200,000 of debt, and it is really scary to feel the weight of financial struggle. I created opportunities for people to invest in real estate. I became really good at it. I sold a lot of houses. All the commission I had, I paid off my debt. Once I paid off my debt, I started buying houses. I want to teach every single person how to do the same. There are so many realtors out there who have mountains of debt, who don't own houses, and they're afraid. They feel like they're frauds, that they can't help people invest if they themselves can't invest. I was one of the most sought after real estate investment specialists before I ever owned a house. How's that? So at this point, I've helped people now acquire over 400 doors. And it is what I want people to know is you don't need 10, you don't need to scale. It starts with one. Whenever you hear people say these institutions are buying up our neighborhoods and they need to be regulated, bullshit. The moms and pops with 2 to 9 doors are the silent movers and shakers of this asset class. I guarantee you know a mom and a pop. I guarantee you know a doctor. I guarantee you know somebody whose kid is in college. I guarantee you know all these people with all these problems, and you just haven't thought about how to create an opportunity with a compelling solution that they can say yes to grow your business. Who has any questions for me?
That's amazing, Beth. Thank you so much. Amazing. This is great, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, look, real
Over the
estate's
top.
hard, right? Like, I love listing houses. I love selling houses. I love working with buyers. You know, it's an uphill battle. But P.S., no matter how challenging last year was, like today's what, February 26th. I have 4 closed, 7 pending, 4 active listings, and 3 more coming up next week. I'm on fire. So I don't care that the market has softened. I don't care that interest rates are like, listen, I get it. I'm here for it. The only reason I'm winning, I don't buy leads, I don't send mailers, I don't door knock, I don't cold call. And those are all great strategies, by the way. You just have to commit. As long as you commit and you take consistent action, those are brilliant strategies. But for me, my strategy is I need to keep creating opportunities people can say yes to. The only way I can create opportunities is finding out what people's problems are. The only way I can find out what people's problems are is by asking the right questions and listening.
Okay, Beth, this is Annie
hold on.
Collins.
Hi, Annie.
I'd
Hold
like
on
to-
1 second.
Yeah.
I've got some people, and I don't want to run out of time. I've got some people. How do they get a hold of you? Do you mind sharing your
Yeah.
phone number, or
Build
can
wealth.
you put it in the chat, or what's the
yeah.
best way?
Yeah. So build wealth with Beth on Instagram. It's one word, build wealth with Beth. That's also my website, and you can catch all sorts of things on there as well. You'll see me speaking next if you're going to Savannah, Georgia for Girls with Grit Live in April. Then if you want to take a trip to the South Florida Miami Regional Rally, May 8th, it is going to be one of the greatest regional rallies. It's me, Gogo, Leo. It is an Oscars themed event. on May 8th. So if you need a little mini day and you're like, let me do a different regional this year, come to South Florida May 8th. I'm giving a speech called The Power of Yes. And so it's just a much deeper dive into what I just spoke about. And it really is going to take you through from the beginning to the end of how to build the opportunity.
Cool. Thanks.
And I think you had a question.
Yeah, I do, Beth, because I love what you're saying. And you speak to me because I'm one of those people that's sitting on a huge amount of value in my own home. And my husband, we're talking about getting a HELOC and doing some things, and I didn't even think about buying investment properties. But this was really fast and quick, and I can't be the only one on this call that's saying, okay, I just need a more detailed what you said and how to do it. Do you teach a class? I mean, I would pay money to go to a class and sit with you so I could really like paper to pencil, like you talked about, and be able to walk away with enough knowledge to be able to go do. I have a doctor. I put in a house. I'm sure he's sitting on a ton of equity, right? That's what I'm talking about. This is so much, but I don't think I could walk away and do it.
Correct.
That's
Like this, you can't learn this in one setting. Typically, I teach 60 to 90-minute workshops, or we do coaching, whether it's group coaching or single session coaching, to take you through those 5 steps and how to really break down how to learn them. So that's part one. Part two, what I had said earlier is you have to be sure you know the solution. So, because what I've found is, PS, do not advise anyone to take a HELOC ever if you don't have the solution ready to go. And by the way, HELOCs, you do not use a traditional lender ever. You find the smallest rinky dink credit union local. That is who you use for a HELOC. Any lender, I don't care if it's your lender that you give $20 million a year to, any lender who doesn't say to you, I can't give you a good rate on that HELOC, you got to go to a credit union, they're terrible. Because so that's part A. So you have to use a HELOC. You want to search for the greatest rates. Part B is the moment you touch that HELOC money, you have to start paying it. So I want you to be mindful that when it's time for your clients to put the EMD money, don't touch the HELOC. Like, you better have the EMD in your regular bank account. Don't touch the HELOC till you're wiring that cash to close. Because the moment we touch that revolving line of credit, then we have to start paying it back. And so when we're penciling a deal, when there's a HELOC involved, what I need people to understand is there's penciling a deal, right? Acquisition costs, operating expenses, then we're going to subtract the PITI to get what is our net positive cash flow, figure out what our cash on cash return is. We need to subtract the HELOC payment from that. That is a critical part that realtors forget. And so if you have $500,000 in your HELOC, like, don't touch it. Only take what you need, right? Like, we never want to take out more because we're going to be paying more. So it is important that before you start advising clients that we have a full strategy, right? We have the compelling solution, but we have to know how to find that solution. And so I always say that sourcing and scouting is something that you should be doing every single week to understand real estate and the numbers. Like, if somebody just wanted a long-term buy and hold, that's the gateway drug to like real estate investing. That's the easiest deals to understand and analyze, because again, a long-term property manager, they get paid 8 to 10% a month of the gross rent. Tenants, long-term tenants, typically pay everything else. It's in the lease. They pay lawn, utilities, water, they pay all that stuff. So if the property rents for $3,400 a month and the PITI is $2,400 a month and the property manager costs $300 a month, that's $700 a month. So far, the math is mathing. Now we need to put aside some money for reserves, right? Because we know shit goes bump in the night, but the math is going to math. And more importantly than the cash flow, everyone is so cash flow focused, are the tax deductions, the write-offs. I get to write off everything I do as a landlord, the mortgage interest, you get to write everything off. So as a realtor and as a physician, what do we need? More write-offs so that we're not paying the IRS. And the goal is, as a physician and as a realtor, there has got to come a day where we retire. So if you don't feel like building out a big revenue share organization, right, and you want to be in production, how are you, realtor, going to retire. The only way to do it is if you buy not a ton, if you buy a few good doors. I can show any realtor who's in their 40s to like early 50 how to purchase 3 homes that you'll then be able to, that'll take you into retirement and you'll be golden. So I can teach anyone how to do it. It's just a matter of understanding the opportunity. And while you're learning the skill set, your job is to go deeper with every single person you serve. And your job is to figure out in your market an opportunity that you can capitalize on. If you find an opportunity for me, let's get on a call and go over it. I have people that have a ton of money and we just need places to spread it all around in.
Bingo. Good
I
job.
love it. This is
Yeah. I know I
amazing.
drop a lot. Like it's always a lot with me, right? And so it's much easier when you're in a workshop because then you can see it on the slide deck. You have your papers in front of you. We go through examples and calculations. So it's easier to learn. If you've ever heard about pad split, I have a pad split course for $199 where there's a whole section on sourcing, scouting, penciling, pitching, and positioning. And I've found that other agents are like, oh my God, we're buying this course because we need to apply it to your an Airbnb. So it's all the same, no matter what the opportunity, the steps are always the same. And I'm happy to dive deeper with everybody, as time allows. We can do another one of these and make it a bigger workshop.
We'd love that to have you come back as a workshop and figure that out for everybody, Beth.
Yeah.
I did put your link, Beth, into the chat so everybody can click that. So you can find out all about what she offers, when and where.
Yeah. If you need me,
Annie, you're
just message
great.
me. I'm here for it. I just want everyone to succeed. And it's just remarkable that we already possess the skill set we need. Like, you know how to curate houses for your clients. You know how to tour them. You know how to make sure the house fits what they're approved for in their budget from the lender. You know how to partner them with your vendors when they're buying. You already have all of these skill sets. It's just like the light bulb has to go off and you're like, oh shit, I can apply this skill set to a new opportunity and open up an entire arm of my business.
So cool. Does anybody else have a quick question? I know we're at the top of the hour and this hour flew by, absolutely flew by. Okay, all right, I got to say this on a technicality thing. A lot of people are texting me saying they can't turn their cameras on. How does that
Listen,
happen?
it's okay. Listen.
No, but I don't understand how that happens on my Zoom. Here's what
Yeah.
Oh, it just
My
happened.
camera
It did,
went off and I can't get it back on either. I texted Ashley too. For some reason it says you cannot turn camera on, host has stopped it. That's what it says. Like,
Yeah, Don told me
Un-
he couldn't turn his camera on. Ron can't turn his on.
Unfortunately, it happens on Zoom periodically.
Sometimes it happens at minute 45. It depends on how you have your Zoom settings set up and how the room
I
is
just
set
need
up.
to go. Yeah, I just need to go check your settings, Peg. This never
Okay.
happened before.
It's
But
never happened. And
Yeah.
But
I don't have a
Yeah.
limit on my Zoom.
yeah, it's
either
never
way,
happened.
even
But
with
Beth,
your
we appreciate you. It
even with your
happens in
cameras off,
the-
like I just want you guys to know I get how hard this is, but every day we just need to remain committed to going deeper and serving higher. And that is how the deals will continue to flow.
I love it.
Thank you, Beth.
My
Beth,
pleasure.
you're amazing. Can we get you back again?
Yes, we can definitely get something on the calendar for sure. We'll do it. We'll do
Okay.
like a 90-minute workshop. We'll figure it out.
Okay. And if I let everybody know in advance, they can adjust their schedules to stay
Oh
on
yeah,
longer too.
we would plan this one out way in advance because I would have to give you guys some materials to yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
All right, guys, I'm off to go walk through showings and kill this day.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, Bev. Everybody, thank you
Talk to
so
you
much.
next week. Thanks a lot. Bye, everybody. Ash, you want to stay on? We'll try and figure this. I'll end the recording.
I was gonna say, at least do that. Turn that off.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to let you guys know just in case you wanted to know that that was an issue. So
Yeah.
hey, at least our mics are working. So thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you, Ash.
Dee Dee. I'll check
Bye.
up with you. Hold on.
Yes, no worries.
Annie, yes, I'll call you. Disconnect audio host tools.
No, you don't. You don't do anything.
No, no,
Please.
no. I'm not doing anything. Oh my God, look at my video.
You're not doing anything though, right?
I am not doing. And, the outtake on this is going to be crazy.
I have to.
What the? I can't shut it. I swear to God, I didn't do anything. I don't know what to do. We would do, your co-host, will you shut the video? I mean, shut the recording off. It's not letting me do anything.
I thought you did it. I got my phone out so that I could record it on my phone because every time you talk, the cow, I guess it's a cow or I don't know what you are, it moves. It's so funny. Oh God. Oh.
I'm watching this. I'm like, what the heck? I can't get this cow off my head. Oh my God. All right. Stop recording. Oh my God.